सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
Bare Knuckle Bhakti presents The Gift of Desperation, a Bhakti recovery podcast. This is a 12-step based Bhakti-oriented space. Here we share our experience, strength, and hope in the spirit of recovery from addictions and associated behaviors. Welcome. Hey, hello.
Hi, sweet soul.
Hello, it's Kishori Gopi, the sunshine formerly known as Kelly Skinner. And now she is the double stuff sunshine because she has been initiated. And by the way, congratulations on your initiation.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you were able to be there.
Yeah, that was amazing. Wasn't that amazing? I just loved it. I had so much, it was really funny when we met this year at GEV. It was so, I don't know, I just felt so much gratitude for you, and there was just some very nice fuzzy warm feelings. So I really appreciate that. That was so
Me
nice.
too. I mean, the year before we had spent the whole month together as roommates at GEV.
I know.
And then we were separated for many, many moons. And then we reunited and it felt like a homecoming and a huge hug. And we've got to walk a lot of this journey alongside each other, and we just get each other. We speak kind of a different language.
Totally. It's
and
just
energetically.
Energetically it works. And people think we're total opposites, but actually we're not really, are we? Not really.
Well, we complement each other. Our energies complement each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the core, we experience the world in a similar way. So we've had different life experiences, but we
of course
experience the world in a similar way.
I think we come from the same, it's like, I just had the funniest image, like the bubbles, the little jars of bubbles. So we come from the same jar of bubbles, but when they're blown, they kind of a little different. They look different, but we come from the same magical bubble jar.
Oh, I love that. We do come from a magical bubble jar, don't we?
When I'm around you, I feel like I could be a unicorn. So it's really nice. You give that vibe off. It's so nice for me. It's really nice for me.
Eva, you are a unicorn. Hello. Just showing you what you already know.
You know what's really funny though? You're like unicorn, My Pretty Pony. And then when I look at myself thinking of a unicorn, I see like a cross-eyed unicorn, like looking at the camera like,
no. Our unicorn manes just have different colored hair. Let's just
exactly.
We walk a little differently.
We do
ride together in unicorn land. So thank you for having me. Thank you for that. Wonderful. Welcome.
Okay. So for those who do not know Miss Kishori Gopi, Davy Dassey, Miss Kelly Skinner. Kelly is a coach of many hats. Not many, enough to, be in them and do them very well. Would you like to tell people what kind of coach you are? I know that you're a spiritual teacher and a bhakti yoga teacher, and what are...
Absolutely. Thank you. I think of myself, like, how we like to have labels in our society now. It's like, so how to succinctly describe what I do? Because it's hard to kind of put into words, but I think of myself as like a modern mystic, if you will. So I am a bhakti yoga teacher. I teach yoga asana. I lead kirtans, and I'm a spiritual coach, and I coach, guide, spiritual caregiver is more of what really lands for me. But I do energy healing work. So I'm a master Reiki practitioner, and I combine subtle body healing work with supporting people in finding their spiritual path and how to have a daily practice, what that looks like. And oftentimes it doesn't start off with, I'm not like saying everyone needs to practice bhakti. It's you're interested in having a connection with God, and I want to help support you in that. And then we navigate and we explore different modalities. And I always share, I am a bhakti yogi, and so I will be teaching through that lens. However, as our teachers and as our guru Ranaswamy teaches, it's inclusive, right? And we are, as Prabhupada said, we're building a house that's big enough for the whole world to fit under, right? Or roof for the whole world to fit under. So it doesn't matter what the name that my students and clients end up calling God, whether that be Krishna or Buddha, Allah. Many start with spirit, or divinity is a way that's like an entry point for people. As I came from having a little bit of a God aversion from the word God for a little while from after my Catholic upbringing. So spiritual caregiver in that way, as we navigate both spiritual practice as well as subtle body healing work, so that we can look at our anartas, we can look at our limiting beliefs and do some releasing of the stuck energy held in our body so that we can more deeply go into our spiritual practice. And then I'm an end-of-life doula, so help guiding people through the final rite of passage, their spirit leaving their body, and also grief and loss. So grief and loss work is very much intertwined in the work that I do with anyone, whether they have a terminal illness or, they know their expiration date, but we're all actively dying. So I bring that into all of the work that I do in a sober way, not a morbid way, in a sober way.
It's
right? How do I
amazing.
want to live now, and die gracefully. So yeah, I feel so fortunate to get to say this is the work that Krishna tagged me to do in this life. And that's why I say modern mystic. It's like, I'm not a mystic yogi, I don't have cities. I'm not, we're all magical and we are unicorns, as we've already established here. However, I don't have a magic wand and I'm not casting spells, right? But it's how to
Actually, she
tune
is.
in.
She told me this. She swore me to secrecy. She really does that before we were on the Zoom chat. We were on the phone, and she was spreading fairy dust everywhere. I saw it.
I mean,
No
I do believe
denying
in fairies and mermaids, and Raghu and Kustuba like to joke that I have mystic spirits in my top bun of my crazy red hair. So I'm not saying any of that's true, but I believe that we all have the ability to tap into our intuitive abilities. We all have the ability to be clairvoyant in many different forms, whether that's by hearing things, seeing things, just we're not dialed into the right frequency. And so I help people tune in, turn the radio dial to the frequency where they can actually hear.
Wow, that's beautiful. And that's what bhakti is, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
when I sit here looking out my window, I have two beautiful pictures. I have a Our Lady of Seven Sorrows right here, and you can see it. No one can in the audience. But I see that she is a pure bhakti yogi.
Just pure devotee.
And that's what bhakti is the path. Bhakti is not a religion, it's a path to God, and whatever that looks like. I love that you guide people to that. And what I truly do love is that you don't say, oh, it's only Krishna, it's only this, it's only that, and the names of God should only be this. I think the door is so much bigger than that. So thank you for that. How can anyone get in touch with you if they would like to work with you?
Thank you for asking that. Well, excited. I'm very excited. My business just moved from Kelly Skinner Yoga to Kishori Gopi Yoga. So
Oh,
KishoriGopiYoga.com is my website. And my Instagram is at Kishori Gopi Yoga.
That's why I couldn't find you under Kelly Skinner.
So I just made the switch like on Instagram last week. So it's sort of this interesting thing how we're not our bodies, our minds, we're not our names, but it's like that's what people have known me as in this life. So even that transition as a recovering codependent, also wanting people to understand, approve, and like me, right? That also got to bring up some of my my patterns of being like, well, are they going to get it? Are they going to that, and just like, no, my business is all about spiritual life and reawakening to divine love. So my initiated name in the Bhakti Yoga lineage is represented. Kishori Gopi means Kishori is a young version of Radharani, the goddess, right? And gopis are cowherd girls. So it's like Kishori Gopi is this energy of eternally loving and dancing with Krishna,
Oh, I
right?
love
And
that.
Devi, goddess, Dasi, servant. So it's like a servant to that. So it's like that's what all my work is about, right? It's eternally loving and dancing with God. So how could I not make that shift? So
That's wonderful. And it's brave. A lot of people are afraid to make that shift. And I
mm,
think also life itself, and we're talking about spiritual energy, or we're talking about my energy, um, it's not static. Life
yes,
is constantly moving. And
correct.
if Miss Kelly Skinner is moving to Kishori Gopi, then well, Krishna bless that. And if you don't like it, I'm
Yes,
so
I'm
happy about
always
it.
channeling my inner Jiva, being like, this is who I am. If you like it, or if you don't like it, like I'll love you from a distance. And if you do like it, come
Yeah.
in close and I'm gonna like smother you in love. Right. So
Yeah.
how to find healthy boundaries and still remain humble and have humility and compassion. That's something that you and I have spoken about before. And I've even asked for support and guidance around. It's really like this, talk about a dance, it's this
Yeah.
dance with the divinity, like God, that Krishna is orchestrating, but it can really be painful,
You know,
and
and that's very, very interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Would you like
go,
to finish your
please,
sentence?
please,
Okay.
please. I think I did finish my sentence.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I wasn't sure. Sometimes I can do the ragu and just kind of jump right in and you know. Ragu and I are very similar in that way. Um,
Mm,
um, and we love him so much.
we love you
And if
both.
it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have not have matched. So,
That's correct. Thank you, Raju.
um,
Hare
yeah,
Krishna.
thanks, Ragu and
Mhm.
Kastiba.
And Kasubaji.
Um, and it's funny because that was the natural thing now where we talked a little bit about your work. We talked a little bit about, what your mission in life is and what you do and what you offer, what your service is and
Mhm.
also what your profession is. Um, and now taking that, and when you said you are a caregiver, a spiritual caregiver,
Mhm.
now there is a knot in there. Where
Mm,
do you give care at not the cost of your own? And that's where we define codependency. And
yes.
because you're a recovering codependent, and we talked the other day about a situation you're going through now. I think this would be the perfect time to just sort of see, it's always this: physician, heal thyself. Yes, I'm a healer. Yes, I'm a, or healer, heal thyself. Shoemaker, make yourself shoes. It's
Totally.
we can have all of this, and sometimes we can be baffled because we're emotionally involved. So
Absolutely.
so going into that, separating your, being a healing caregiver, and all of this stuff. And I think it's really important to use what we do, to use our experiences in our experiential, life
Mhm.
in our spiritual practices. Um, and then it becoming one in the same. And that's
Mm,
what we're all doing now. And I think right now you have this opportunity that's shown itself within your family unit.
yeah.
How do you feel? How do you look at what's going on there? Like, let's
Yeah.
talk about that because I think people can really benefit from this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really appreciate how you phrase that and how, as a spiritual caregiver and a recovering codependent, how to find that balance in the line of not overgiving. And I have like different mantras and sort of mindsets that I try to approach my work with, and I remind myself and have a support team, a well-being team to also remind me of it so that I'm carrying but not carrying the energy and the situations or the sadness, the emotions of whomever I'm serving. And then there's also this element that I bring into my work that comes from Hawaiian healing practices, and aloha, right? The word aloha actually means the breath of God is present here. And so I try to kind of like Haribol means keep chanting the names of God, but we say Haribol, hello and goodbye. In Hawaii, it actually means the breath of God is present here, but they use it as hello and goodbye too. But
That's
I
beautiful.
try to, what's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say in Germany, they say, well, not in Germany, in Bavaria,
Yeah,
they say Grüß Gott. And
Grüß
this
Gott.
means, yeah, that means hello, God. And that's how you greet each other. Hello,
There it
God.
is. What are we? We're just missing
Greetings,
in
greetings,
our
God.
in our Western culture. Like all these cultures
Yeah,
have God intervened.
greetings, God.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I
Okay,
love
sorry, I like.
Germany. I was born in Germany. I love Germany. As you,
Ah!
but okay, so I show up and I try to say, I just try to love the person and let God do the rest. So to realize that I am not the healer, I am the conduit for healing to happen. And so that I separate me and my ego and my desire to serve, my desire to help, my desire to save, my desire to heal, right? Which, you know, that being in that sort of area of the drama triangle between savior, victim, and perpetrator, I always found myself in the savior mode, right? So and if I could save, then I would be liked. If I could save others, then I'll be loved, right? Hence my um people pleasing coming and needing and craving, feeling like I really need that acceptance and approval of other people. So as you were alluding to, I've been navigating for some time now in my family dynamic this shift from Kelly Skinner, the bright light of Vermont, who's always happy, who always accommodates everyone, who is the peacekeeper in the family, to, I would say, 4+ years ago, in finding bhakti and realizing that I was codependent and starting going to therapy, right? And to really get to the core of where that started. And that started in my family dynamic, specifically learned in my relationship with my older sister. So throughout that time, as I've learned to see my patterns and own my part and take responsibility for my actions and work through the steps, to okay, like what are my boundaries? I can have boundaries. What have I been tolerating? How do I communicate
What
my
am I
boundaries now?
doing?
Right? Like, and I
Yeah.
went from total codependent, and then as we've spoken about, I like whiplashed over to the other side of fierce independence and like, no, I got this. I don't need anybody. I can figure it all out on my own, and being single for 4 years, and really learning like I can actually take care of myself. And that was empowering, but I've been working to come more to that middle way. And so then enter Bhakti, which is totally, and I'm not like a cusper. I'm like in it, right? I'm like, Hare Krishna 3.0, like here we go, right? And
Well, that's kind of your nature, isn't it? I mean, that's how you do it with your
yes,
snowboarding. I mean, you were always very.
skiing, not snowboarding.
I know that that's that rivalry between skiing and
I kid,
snowboarding. I'm
but
so
yes,
sorry. I know
totally
there
okay.
is. And you're like, everything you did, you're very determined. You're just that kind of person. That's your way. And
Thank you.
I do
Yeah,
love
I
that.
was raised a competitive athlete. I was an alpine ski racer from age 5 through D1 in college. So it was like whole world was that.
Did you hear that, snowboarders? Did you hear that?
So it's like, and my dad was in the military and my grandfather was in the military. So it's like, I have that discipline. I have time management skills. It's like, tell me what the prescription is. Tell me how to be the best ski racer or whatever it is, or get the best grades. And I will work hard and do it. Right. So like with Bhakti, I also love that Prabhupada has given us this prescription of like, do these things and then these things will fall away, and don't do it faster than, don't try to be higher on the yoga ladder than you actually are. And you can actually achieve love of God in this life, right? You can actually, you can transform, right? It's possible. And so I mean, I didn't start chanting 16 rounds right away. I chanted like, 1 to 4 rounds for at least a year, and just like slowly, and then worked with different teachers and mentors. And I worked with Madhuri Pardasa. I got to meet Raghunath and have a lot of association with Raghu and Kastuba. And what to speak of then my therapist and all these different things. So all of a sudden, in a fairly short amount of time, I really transformed and started living from my authentic self and using my voice and speaking up when things felt uncomfortable or unjust, right? So I went from the harmonizer to now truly the disruptor in my family model of and I'm engaged to an amazing Bhakti yogi devotee, Shamya Pras, who, has brought so much to my life, and I've learned so much, and also like learning to be in a devotee relationship, and that is very different than the beautiful relationships that my sister, my brother, my parents, my grandparents, that they're all in. However, that's not what I want, right? And so to navigate the disapproval, and now what's coming up is some even disrespect, right? So
Mm.
how to feel hurt by that, allow myself to feel hurt by that and cry about it and
Mhm.
not avoid my emotional experience and have boundaries and then stick to them. That for a codependent, or at least for me in my relationship with recovery with codependency, it has been one of the most challenging parts. It's like, okay, I've set the boundary, but now I know that there's unrest and that,
Yeah,
my
and
sister's
yeah,
upset.
that's hard
I
to
want
let
to
go
just
of
fix
that.
it. I
Yeah,
want to
of
fix it.
course. The boundary's fixed, but it's kind of like, no, get away from me. Are you okay? Like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Is everything okay over there? Are you mad at me? Are you ever going to talk to me again? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
horrible. I know. It's excruciating. Funny. It's really nice that you're sharing this because I think everybody has this kind of situation in their lives with whomever, with their mother, with their parents, with their partner, with a best friend, whoever that might be, with a sister, sibling. Um, and these patterns, I think when we speak about them,
Mhm.
we do two things. The first is that we get clarity within ourselves. And the
Mm.
second is that we help others get clarity within themselves. So it is a win-win. And I think sometimes it's not an event, it's a process, right?
Yeah.
Recovery, knowing that you are a codependent, knowing that you're dealing with things, it's not an event. This is a process that you have
Right.
the first, okay, oh gosh, okay, so this is me. I am, I do identify with one of the anartas as being codependency.
Yeah.
I identify with that.
Yeah.
So, what do we do with that? And
Mhm.
part of that is sharing our experience, strength, and hope.
Mm.
For me, I can say I'm in another situation which is also very, very challenging for my people-pleasing addiction,
Yeah.
being everyone's darling, always being the savior, everybody, always wanting to, come to me, I'll help you,
Yeah.
and and this is not fake. This is also God-given. This is a blessing that I've received.
Right. You genuinely care and you want to help people.
Yes.
And I feel
Yes.
that way too. Yes.
Yes, exactly. However, I need to be careful about how I do that.
Correct.
And there are those, things. And so right now also I'm in a situation as well. And it's really difficult for me to draw a hard boundary
Mhm.
and say, okay. And you know what? It's not about it being a static boundary. It's not about it being a boundary where it's like, here's the wall. I'm going to give it to you. I don't ever want to see you again. Just go away. That's not the boundary. The
Mhm.
boundary is, yes, I love you. And please do not say that to me again. Please do not treat me like that. And if it does go on, saying, I'm going to need some time.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some time. And getting through that process, I always know sharing about it, talking to others about it, getting help from others, getting insight from my spiritual teachers,
Mhm.
my spiritual peers,
Yeah.
um, and working I work a program on it because I've been in the program. It's just sort of like my second nature, and
Yeah.
and even I'm right now in therapy,
Mhm.
and I've like rejected therapists for the last 10 years.
Mm.
I used to do a lot of therapy. I was like forced in therapy my whole life. Like
Right.
therapy
Which is
was
why
like,
you've rejected it.
Yeah, I was always like, I'm not going to a therapist. I'm
You
not
are a
going to do
rebel.
this. Yes. So,
Rebel unicorn.
yeah, a rebel cross-eyed unicorn. No.
No, I reject
No.
that, actually.
I
I
reject
reject.
I actually reject that too because that's not nice to others. I didn't mean it that way at all.
Mm.
It's not
No, I
nice to
know you're speaking about it from your old because you can be, looking over there, looking over here. You can have that sort of energy. You're making,
exactly.
you're,
I'm
what I
making
think is not
a
nice is you're
comical
making fun
thing.
of yourself when I don't see you that way. So that's why I
Yeah,
say I
yeah,
reject
yeah.
it.
Yes, yes. Okay. I'm glad you get it.
You have a mohawk unicorn. You just have a unicorn like that. Your hair, your mane is like
Yeah.
electrified kind of thing,
Yes.
Anyway, your eyes are
Yes.
beautiful. Anyway, yeah, yeah. So I really appreciate how you just map that out and the the space that has proven a little bit more challenging for me is like after naming the boundary and asking for the space to allow there to be space. Right. Even
Yeah.
though I need this space to get clarity on what is it that I actually need and what do I want out of this relationship, not just how do I fix it, but what do I need? Right. It's like, as the Bhagavad Gita says, like within relationships, a tamasic relationship, right, is that I matter and you don't. A rajasic relationship is you matter and I don't, where the sattvic relationship is you matter and so do I. And
Yeah.
so
That's beautiful.
as a code of lifelong recovering, as not an event, as a process. I love how you said that, of codependency. I realized that I live so much of my life in that rajasic energy of you matter and I don't. And whatever makes you happy is what will make me happy. And your healing is more important than mine. Like I will listen to what you need and won't ask for
Yes.
space for you to hear me. Right. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
shifting to that sattvic mode of communicating, and I like to make this distinction between being kind and nice. I was nice for so long and kind of like a welcome mat. And now I'm trying to be kind, which is direct, clear, honest, and compassionate. I'm like, no more welcome mat, Kishori
I
Gopi.
love that.
But then how to have that, like to live that you matter and so do I. Your opinion matters, but so does mine. And actually my boundary is that I'm not able to hear your opinion anymore on this subject. I'm not able to hear your opinion on what you think about my fiance and our relationship because I'm choosing it and I have clarity around that. Right. And the ways in which to be clear, I love my sister. I love her. And this is incredibly painful. And I don't like the way that she's behaving and I don't like the way she's treating me. And so like how to ask for respect and do it in a sattvic way, and
Right. Oh, it's a lot of practice. And I think a lot of people don't want to do that work. I don't want to talk about anyone else, of course, but
yeah.
I think that work is difficult and it's not very attractive to be like, okay,
Ugh.
who cares who cares to like be completely, transparent and, with all of its consequences and who wants to self-reflect all the time. And it sounds so, it's like, oh, just give me the bag of chips and the Netflix and I don't want to deal with it.
Because
Right?
it can be exhausting because
It's
it's
exhausting.
it's growing, it's literally growing pains. I feel that. Like I used to I remember feeling like the aches in my legs as I was growing and stuff. And like, I think they call that like restless leg syndrome now, but really maybe it's growing. I don't know, but it's like that. I know that Krishna is working me out right now, right? It is like, these are tests and this is purification and how to hold both. Like I know this is for my highest good. I know this is for her highest good. I know this is for Shamya, my fiance's highest good. Like, and my whole family's highest good is that like we're not going to just wash over things and act like everything's perfect all the time because that's not reality, right? So it is for everyone's growth and evolution, and holding that it is really hard for everyone, and it's like it's painful, and to honor both of those, that two things can be true at the same time. I know this is for the benefit of me and my growth and transformation and that of others, and I would prefer this wasn't happening. Right? Like, and how do I show up and not avoid? We were also speaking about that the other day of like, how to know, like, what is a healthy boundary? What is avoidance? And what is codependency?
Mm.
Because
And we
there's
did,
so many different things.
yeah, and we talked about it being trial and error, and that's what happens. That's why it is a process, because we are going to try things out. And that's the thing. And this is where I think a lot of people get a lot of anxiety. I myself, when I say things like a lot of people, I include myself in that, where I can get anxiety. I'm going to bring it back to the I, where I can get anxiety around things is that when I think that I don't do it perfectly, I am a perfectionist. And the thought of not doing it right means that it's a failure, which means I'm a failure, which is a direct reflection of how I feel on the inside. So that
Mm,
anxiety, what helps me in those situations is to say, hey, wait a second, stop. This is a big open space.
mm,
This is new ground and it's space. Now, what would I do for a child who looked at a big open space and didn't really know quite what to do with it? Would I yell at the child for not knowing that the blocks were, she'd never seen something like that? I wouldn't do that. I would say, oh, okay, that's okay. And I want to take that energy to myself and say, I allow myself to go into this new world, with this new realization.
mhm.
And I'm going to allow myself to make mistakes. I'm going to allow, and screw the others who don't. And I don't want to mean it that way. It's just screw the other opinion about, um, actually, I want to reiterate that. I don't want to say that because that's like kind of old energy.
Mm,
But to be able to go into that situation, allow myself to make mistakes, and then on top of it, saying it's okay to make mistakes,
mhm,
learn from those mistakes, do better the next time, and say, you know what? I'm trying to the best of my ability. Now, if somebody else sees that I've made a mistake and I've done it wrong,
mhm.
and they don't want to forgive me for that, I can't control that.
Right, you
I
have to accept
can't.
it.
I cannot
Mhm.
control that. You know, when I'm in there with a little slight idea that if I do this, they might react like this, that's called decorated control. It's like a decorated
Mm.
control.
Right,
We
it's
think we're
actually a
doing it
subtle
good.
form of manipulation.
Absolutely. Decorated
Mhm.
control, subtle manipulation.
I like that decorated control.
Yeah, it's like,
Kind of
oh,
disguised. Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
So, so, if we go into these situations, which are different for us, like you had said, you're always the people pleaser. You always, you were the one to bring harmony and stuff. And all of a sudden you're in this position, a new position in your family unit and the family dynamic. You're in
Mhm,
this new position of, being not that person anymore.
mhm.
You're in a whole nother ballpark now. And you
Yeah, I'm
don't,
actually the source of the distress of other people in my family, where I was the one that resolved distress.
and the funny thing is you're not. It's their fears
Mm,
being projected on you. You're not
right.
the source. You are not the source. You are being the double stuffed Kelly Kishori, right? And
Yeah,
they don't know it. They want to put you back where you were
yeah,
because it's safer for them. They're acting in fear.
right,
And you are too. I don't want to assume that, but at least you're willing to admit, okay, what's going on here? Like
right,
how can I do this properly? And
right.
that's wonderful. Allow
Yeah, and I
yourself
have
to
acted,
explore.
or acted from fear. And so what I am trying to do is to not interact with them from a place of fear, right? But it's
Mm,
like this, like a snap of the finger, like where I do that in, our amazing community. We call it the Vermont Bhakti House Sangha here that has formed, that Krishna has used
shout
me to
out Bhakti
create in
House
Vermont.
Sangha.
That's right. Like it's amazing. And I'm a spiritual leader in our community, right? Where I like model that, and it's not fake. It's just like I'm able to really show up in that way. And I do that in my relationship, and I do that in my friendships, and I do that in so many ways, but get back with where the source of where our limiting belief, where, our chakras form based on our childhood, just energetically. So it's like
Sure.
where there's stuck energy, it comes from. And I had a beautiful childhood, by the way. And I have an amazing, amazing parents who are so supportive, by the way. My parents are just, my mom is beside herself around what's happening with my sister, but my parents have asked questions, have been respectful, and are really supportive, which is beautiful. My brother
Good.
is a little bit more he's a fighter pilot. He's in like a kind of a different world, but is also being supportive, so
Oh, I love
how
that.
do, but I find, and I think most of us, many people can attest to this. It's like they say if you think you're a light and spend a week with your family, like those old roles and
So
patterns, they come
true.
back so fast, right? And so then that is fear, like me, fear of not being accepted by them for being who I really am in my fullness, in my double stuff, Kishori Gopi, Kelly Skinner way, where I will choose to not share that as much with them. Like
Sure.
that's my choice. And that comes from fear. And so I don't want to do that. And Jiva, I saw the other day, I think Dayal Garanga from the Bhakti Center posted, how you post those really
Yeah.
wonderful
Yeah.
verses from the Gita
I
and
do.
makes them into inspirational quotes. There was one around that there's the releasing the need for to be understood can allow for a
Oh,
whole new set of like way of freedom.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And finding the ways in which my codependency, my addiction to being liked and understood, right, is like, and my partner also wants to be, he's completely misunderstood. He's like demonized in my sister's eyes, right? So it's like that hurts. And from that hurt, right, is then informing how to respond. Or actually, that hurt informs the reaction. Whereas we're taking the space and time, because that's all I know to do right now in order to like
Mm,
be able to respond from a place of love.
right. Right.
And to
That's
not act like I'm, in a different place than I am in my spiritual practice, thinking that I'm unaffected by it, right? I'm not actually to a stage of steady mind where whether it's hot or cold, where I'm unaffected and then I just have this equanimity, like that I take no offense at all to what's happening. So it's like, this is where I am. Oh, this is showing me where I have work to do still. And
mm,
to, as you said, confide in those that it's safe to do with and ask for
yeah.
guidance support, go to therapy, go to acupuncture, get massages, do my, receive Reiki, like really receive so that I can um, be held and supported in a way that I'm used to doing for others, but I really deeply need right now in order to navigate this.
Yeah. Yes. That's wonderful that you said that. It's really nice. You and I should keep in contact at the moment. I think we have a lot of things in common. Let's
Yeah, we
let's
do.
let's make that public. Let's like a public commitment that we'll keep each other informed at least like once a
Yes.
week, just like some voice
Check in once.
messages.
We're
Yeah.
good at voice messages. We like that.
Yeah.
Fell off a little bit, but yeah, I would love that, to
Do you
hold each
like them?
other
Do you
like
like voice
lovingly
messages?
accountable. I love voice notes.
Oh, good. Perfect. Me too. Okay. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Commitment made. For all viewers out there, check in on us, please, and make sure we're doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, this is such good stuff. This is really the stuff that, and this is the thing. This is when we put the work in here,
Mm,
we benefit. And when we benefit, the community benefits. And when the community benefits, then there is really like the sky is the limit. It's like, healthy
feels-
communities are built from healthy individuals. And that's why it is so important. These topics that we're talking about, all of this family dynamic and all of this. And yes, we can chant 16 rounds. And yes, we can just do the bhakti thing and not, I mean, it works for some people. My husband, for example,
Mhm.
he has made some of the biggest changes I've ever seen without ever going to a meeting, without
Mm,
ever, he's gone to therapy, but he's literally delved so deep into bhakti.
mm,
His sadhana is like, I can't even like, I don't even like know how someone can do that. He should actually just go to an ashram is what he should do. But
mm.
he does everything and it's wonderful. And I love to see that. And his changes are amazing.
Yeah.
So that may work for some people.
Mhm.
Um, but I think this work, like what you're talking about, what we're doing here as well, is so important, because I think 98% of the people are like us.
Yeah.
I'm not that fucking special. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm not that special.
Yeah, I love that you bring this up. And this past weekend, I did a virtual japa meditation retreat with Mahatma Das Maharaj. And one of my reflections from the experience, and I shared with him, was like, I thought that I felt appreciation and like got into the mood and the feeling when chanting japa, but after doing this japa retreat, I realized I really haven't been. And that there's
Oh
so much
gosh.
more space to like bring the feeling of what we are doing in our japa versus just sit and chant japa, right? And so
Right.
he very much talked about like it's important to get into the mood and the energy of the prayer of the Maha Mantra, right? And that there's different ways. And we walked through the 8 verses of the Shashtakam and the different moods and qualities that Mahaprabhu is speaking about, right? And so like infusing, and my biggest takeaway was, or my biggest like affirmation takeaway was, before chanting around, like we say like, I am the most fortunate person in the universe to have access to this medicine, and I don't even want to take it. I want to go do X, Y, and Z. I want to do all these other things, right? Like, but I'm the most fortunate person in the universe because, like, and please let me just taste a drop of the love between Radha and Krishna, like, and really getting into the mood and the feeling of chanting. And I think that, to your point, if someone is able to do that in their sadhana on a regular basis for 16 rounds or many rounds, like that, you are bringing your emotion, you are bringing the things you're working on and through, and offering that in your sadhana, then yeah, I also can see how that can be a way to also process your emotional experience. And as you said, I think many people either do that sometimes or don't even know to do that, or don't know that's available. And so like, that's where we can get into spiritual bypassing, where it's like, just do the prescribed rounds and
Yes.
not actually take responsibility for things in your life, or do your emotional, energetic, subtle body healing work. And so what I believe, and for me in my practice, it's like, I do my prescribed rounds, I do my sadhana, and I'm working on deepening my mood in that, and that is a lifelong process, or lifetimes long process. And, I do like a daily feeling practice where I get in child's pose and I'm like, how do I feel right now?
Oh
And
my
sometimes
God.
I just
Do you do
cry.
that?
Sometimes I
do
laugh.
that.
Sometimes I feel nothing, and set a timer. It's part of what I invite people to do that are grieving. And
So
it's
cool.
daily grief. You have 1 minute, you have 5 minutes, whatever it is, set a timer, get into a restorative yoga pose, or lie in your bed or on an acupuncture mat or whatever you want, or in the sun and in the grass, and just be like, feel. This is my opportunity to feel. And I say it's like getting into the bathtub and then getting out of the bathtub. It's like, be in your grief, be in your sadness, be in whatever, we like to be in our joy, so maybe it's not really as much about being in your light, it's being in your shadow. And it's full permission to feel it, so that when that timer goes off, you get out of the bathtub and you go on with your day, so that
Great.
your
Love it.
fingers
You're
aren't
not,
pruned,
yeah. And
right? You stayed in there too
you're not
long.
going down the rabbit hole. Like, yes, we recognize this is how we feel. This is what we're doing. And we move on. We give
Exactly.
it time. We give it space. But we do what and that's something that I've been talking about. Actually, I was talking about this on one of the podcasts. I don't remember when, but I was talking about exactly that. Saying, doing a fourth and fifth step, which is taking inventory and then sharing with someone else.
Yeah.
It's not about taking your moral inventory and taking it and whipping yourself with it and wallowing in self-pity about it. And it's not about that. It's about visiting it, giving it space, giving it a name, admitting it to someone else. And then later on in the program, we correct those things. We try to correct those things. We try to do better.
Right.
And what I noticed for me is, and this is such a good point. Oh my God, I'm totally into this talk right now, but as usual, but what I noticed was this: sometimes I stay too long in that damn bathtub.
Yeah, you can drown in the bathtub. You can fall asleep and
Yes.
drown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's such a good analogy. And because I was talking about Lex, my husband,
Yeah. I
um,
love him, by the way.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely,
He's a sweet
he-
soul.
he's the first person, that actually a really funny thing is I'm off on a sidetrack again, but, Raghu and Kastuba are the first people whom I've felt the first time the willingness to trust.
Mm.
I've never trusted anybody. I've never been willing to trust anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just getting into that. Okay, I really want to trust. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just starting to give that trust space. And it's
Powerful.
great. It's really
Yeah.
powerful.
It's transformative.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it really is. It's been very transformative. So, but what I was saying was I noticed that often if so he concentrates on the solution constantly. He's constantly doing his sadhanas, constantly doing these things, and filtering all the bad stuff through that and getting purified through all of those things. And I really appreciate that. And I wish that I could do more of that. Although I do it through the program and I do it through other things, but
Avenues. Yeah.
avenues. But the thing is,
Mm.
with those, the concentration sometimes is too much on the defect, on what's missing, what's not there, what's not good enough.
Mm.
And I think I need to change that. I said today to somebody, I'm sick and tired. I was in a meeting this morning and I said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I'm so sick and tired. And it was just like this hit me. And I welled up with tears saying this. I'm
Mm.
sick and tired of changing because I feel the heat and I don't. I always say I change because I feel the heat, not because I see the light. And
Mm.
I'm sick and tired of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
I want to change now because I see the light, and I am changing because I see the light now. I don't always have to be dragged by my hair through the lesson, kicking and screaming. I
Right.
can just quiet and peacefully walk towards the light. I don't need that heat anymore. And
Mm.
this is something so powerful. And I'm so grateful for that realization. Yeah.
That's a big, I mean, that's like a paradigm shift.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a that's a whole paradigm shift.
And you
And
know what?
go
That's
ahead.
because of the situation I have right
Yeah.
now. It's because of that. It's only because of that. I've learned so much from this. I'm so grateful for the situation. Very uncomfortable situation where I've had to learn patience. And I'm still being patient in this situation and
Hmm.
trusting.
Right.
So,
And that you can respond and move through that now in a
yeah.
different way than that old pattern, right? Of kicking and
Yeah.
screaming. Or no, you will drag me. I will not, you
Yeah,
can drag me by the
exactly.
hair. And that's actually more comfortable. That's more comfortable
It
for
is.
you
It's
than just choosing to walk.
crazy. Crazy. It's like, no, I'm not ready yet. I still haven't, like, okay, my left eye is only black and blue, my right isn't. So it has to be there before I'll start to move. And I'm
Yeah.
not comfortable there anymore. I'm not comfortable anymore.
Yeah. You know what I'm hearing also? I love this. I often will say how Krishna, we'll go through something. This is not a me saying, but I'm just going to add this, that we'll go through something again and again until we grow through it. Right.
Right.
And so at first, Krishna like whispers, like, don't do that. Oh, try another way. You're like, nah. Like that's just like a little like pinch. And then like he gets a little louder and he's like knocking at the door and then he like slapped you and you're like, no, still not enough. Right. Then it's like he's banging on the door and you like have like you just said you have your black eyes, you have whatever. And then like the cosmic 2x4 is like he's pulling you, dragging
Yeah,
you by the
cosmic
hair.
214, yes.
And you're like, okay, now I've been like pulled behind the car for long enough. Like I'm
Yes,
ready to do a different way. And
exactly.
it takes like it's such a process, isn't it, Jiva? It's like,
Ugh.
and
Ugh.
how many times have you been cosmic 2x4, right? It's like we get taken out and our addiction runs so deep that we're
It
like,
does.
we could just do a different way. We could turn toward, but let the light change you. But you're like, no, I'm addicted to
Um,
that chaos. I
yes.
know that's comfortable.
Oh my God, totally. Oh my God,
Right?
totally. And you named it. You freaking named it. I'm addicted at times. I think in my life, I have been really addicted to chaos.
Well, because it's what you've known. You've had
It's what I've
like
always known.
your book, viewers already know a lot of your story, but your book is going to be insane, right? It's like the things that you've experienced, like I have never experienced. That's why we joke, right? About what'd you call me, My Little Pony unicorn, and the more rugged unicorn. You've gone through things that like I don't even know happen.
Mm.
Like, so you also have a different lens through which you're experiencing the world. And it's actually incredible that in this lifetime that you are seeing, you're changing out your lens.
You know what? I'm going to say, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what I'm going to say.
That's a
I'm
great,
going to say,
that's a great
thank you for
response.
that.
Just receive it because it's true. Yeah.
And here we both are. And that's the wonderful thing.
Uh-huh.
Here we both are. You and I here right now,
Mhm.
talking about the same thing, vibing the same thing, knowing exactly what we're both talking about. And everything that happened up until this point, no matter what it was, whether it was fairy dust or horse manure, whatever it was, we're here on this path right here, right now.
Yeah.
Vibing, which only shows to me that we have an inherent love of God.
Yeah.
All of us. And whatever brings us to that path is whatever brings us to that path. And that's why comparison in that way of putting yourself below or above somebody, putting yourself in, oh, I wish I was more like them, or I wish I was more like her, or it means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
In this life, this is another thing I have to say. In this life, the one thing that I've learned, and I'm learning right now, is this: don't take it personally. This whole situation
Mm-hmm.
brought that to a head. My situation that I'm having right now,
Yeah.
it's brought it to a head where I say, and why do I say don't take it personally? And I don't mean it in the material sense. I just mean that if I zoom out, if I do the bird's eye, I am just a part of a little piece of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's responsible for their own little part in everything. And everything that's happening, quote unquote, to or for or against me or whatever, however you want to see it, it's just happening. That's all it is. And I'm playing a part in that other person's life, and they're playing a part in my life. And it's not an attack against my character or against my existential spirit soul. It's not about any of it. It's just about bruising the ego and my damaged conditioning here. That's all it is. And I don't need to take it seriously. Personally, I don't need to take anything like that personally. When I trust that Krishna knows exactly, we're all here for this for a reason, and we're interacting with one another for a reason. We show up and we suit up and we do what we got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a very beautiful, eloquent offering there. Like brings tears to my eyes. And it's, this like, when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. When I think I surrender, I surrender more. And when I think I surrender more. There's like so much surrender to do here. And, when you zoom out in that way, as you just zoomed us all out, it's like that all of this petty drama, the he said, she said, your opinion, like it doesn't matter.
No.
And so, and it actually felt very like, that felt really resonant in my earth suit, in my body, of just sort of like like, oh yeah,
Oh,
right.
nice.
And so how to hold that and remember that and not be a welcome mat. Like truly, that's what that's why I'm taking the space that I'm taking now in my situation with my sister. It's like, because as soon as I interact with her, I almost don't know how to either not have my mitts up, my like, okay, I have to I have to actually meet her from the energy that she's meeting me, because otherwise I will just get pummeled. And I don't want fighting mitts up, right? So it's like, how to remember what you just named, and still ask for respect, you know,
Hmm.
or like, is that just ego then?
No, well, yes, it is. I mean, black and white, it is. It's
Yeah,
all ego. Doesn't matter
yeah,
what anyone. I mean, like we talked about the sage being equipoised, right? I mean,
yeah.
that's what you'd said before. This, we're not the sage being
You just said
equipoised.
mine. We're not
And
there yet.
and I think we never will be, because I think we're in the age of Kali, where it's very difficult to do that in this
Unless
age.
maybe we renounce and then don't have relationships
That's what
in
I mean. And
past.
we are grahastas. We are in the world of the world, not of the
Yeah,
world, but we are in the world.
yeah.
And we try not to be of the world in that way. But yeah, we're not sannyasis. We don't we have those. It's very easy, it's not easy being a sannyasi.
No,
It brings a whole nother load of challenges.
yeah,
But it's easier to be a sannyasi looking at the world through other relationships, how you build your relationships, love relationships, family relationships, all these, renunciates they have a good load of things they don't need to deal with.
yeah,
But they do, and it's no way an easier job. It's just a different job.
correct.
And so how do we, that's a really good question. How do you do that with demanding respect? And if it is an ego thing, yes, it is an ego thing. And until the point that we can be completely detached from our ego,
Hmm.
I think the most important thing is to just say, I please don't talk to me that way. Like that's something that's a very simple thing. It hurts me when you speak like that with me.
Hmm. Right.
It hurts me.
And then the if the other person can receive it or not, or can
Right.
accept that or not, is out of our control. And so
And that's where you can draw a line and you
that's where
can
the
say,
boundaries are set.
this
Yeah.
hurts me. This hurts me too much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't think I can handle your anger. I don't think I can handle that. So I'm
Mhm.
going to have to walk away from that for a while and then pray a whole damn lot not to be taking the temperature all the time, like you said,
Pay a whole damn lot.
yeah,
That should be a t-shirt.
that is a t-shirt. Pray a whole damn lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a beautiful way to sort of wrap that piece up of like do what do what we can in the most sattvic aligned way that we can, and while keeping Krishna at the center, but then offering it all up, right?
Oh my gosh.
Offering it
Totally.
all up
Totally. And if
on
it's wrong,
repeat.
we'll find out.
We will find out. We will
But like
find
we're those kids, right? Getting into that area where we've never been before. Let's not yell at ourselves. Let's not get in that anxiety about, I'm going to do this wrong. You're going to do it wrong.
out.
You're going to make mistakes. That's
Right,
fine. You're good. It's all good,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is that this learning about bhakti and Krishna consciousness, and that we we are seeking that higher love, that divine love to fill the
Give
God.
me a higher love. Do, do,
Yeah,
do, 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 do.
give me higher love.
Higher
Oh, yes.
love. Oh,
A higher love. That's what we want.
yeah.
That's why they wrote a song about it, right? So like,
Yeah.
and for those of us that are in recovery from codependency, it's like we're seeking that love, right? Through being who we think we need to be for others. And so reconciling that old way of being with the new way of being is a practice. And that as you're naming, like self-love and compassion and grace. Grace for all parties involved, right? Because it's kids out in a new place, in a new environment. We don't know how to play in this way. So
Absolutely. And even the people who you are having this interaction with are in the same
exactly,
position.
exactly. We're gonna make
And
mistakes.
that's it. So it's like the spiritual playground is open. And then they all come in and everybody's like, ah! It's like, is there an adult in the house?
Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. Jai.
Jai
Jai.
Jai. All right. All right, Miss Kishori Gopi. This was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so
Um,
much for having this conversation and for
uh,
providing this amazing platform to all of the listeners, to all of us spirit souls who are trying to find our way through a addiction-ridden world, and everyone has an addiction, whether you know it or not. And so thank you, Jiva G, for providing this space and for sharing your life's work and your life's experiences and doing it in a way as making it an offering and service to your guru, to Krishna, to all of us. It's so clearly sincere and genuine, and your dharma.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. That's so wonderful to hear. I'm
Yeah.
going to just receive that. That's
Mhm.
it. That's what I'm going to do.
That's all you have to do. And that's a hard practice in itself. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
So Miss Kelly Kishori, Gopi
Double
Skinner,
stop.
Kelly Kishori, Gopi Skinner, or Kishori Kelly Skinner Gopi.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. This
I
was
love
wonderful.
you. I love
Okay,
you.
so I love you too. Who here? I think I'm gonna. I don't know how to do that. Maybe Katerina, the wonderful devotee who helps me with loading up and stuff, can do like a little poll on this. Who would like to have more Kelly here? I know I would like to have more Kelly here. So
Mm,
would you like to come again
I would
soon? Would
love to.
you? Okay,
Would love
great.
to.
Let's continue these conversations because I think it's a nice vibe.
Well, I'm
Let's
grateful to
just
be a part of it and share and contribute to serving you in any way I can.
we're serving together at everybody else.
Mm,
Thank
we
you
are.
so much, Kelly.
Thank you so much. Hari Bol, Hari Krishna.
How can anyone get in touch with you again
Mm.
before we leave? Say it
They
again.
can, they on Instagram, Kishori, should we spell it? Kishori, Gopi, Gopi, Yoga, Yoga. So Kishori Gopi Yoga on Instagram. My website is Kishori Gopi Yoga as well. And yeah, I do retreats, and I just launched an energetic mastery and Reiki level 1 and level 2 training. So
Ooh,
as well as, other programs and such, but those are the newest things. So would love to serve and support anyone that I'm meant to.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for those offerings. And
Mm.
we'll see you soon. Haribo.
Bye.
This concludes another episode. Thanks for listening. In order for me to serve this community to the best of my ability, I welcome feedback. Please write your feedback at bhaktirecoverypodcast@gmail.com. That's bhaktirecoverypodcast@gmail.com. Also, please don't forget to follow and give us a 5-star rating. Share this with family and friends. If you'd like to join our Bhakti Recovery community or just find out what we're all about, please visit our website at www.bhaktirecoverygroup.com. That's www.bhaktirecoverygroup.com. There are no dues or fees, and we meet daily. If you or someone you know is struggling with addictions and/or associated behaviors, you will find links in our show notes to various 12-step programs. Nobody seeking recovery need ever be alone again.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.